5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Everything Medicare Podcast. We made it another week, another Monday, another weekend down the tubes. Today is June 11th, 2018, and I am your host, Christian Brindle. Welcome to the Everything Medicare Podcast, where once a week, every Monday, I talk about your Medicare, your Medicaid, your Social Security, and everything that has to do with your retirement. Today, we're talking about something that is near and dear to my heart, being an insurance expert, a Medicare expert specifically, is Medigaps. I love Medigaps because if I was turning 65 and I was getting on Medicare, I'd probably pick a Medigap for myself, just because of how they work. Now, most people that are on Medigaps understand that they work as an 80-20 deal. I've done podcast episodes in the past about Medigaps. If you haven't listened to them, go back and listen to them if you want to know the specific details. I'm not going to tell you too much about the specific types of Medigaps today, because I've done that before. Go back and listen to the Plan Gs, the Plan Fs, the plan, which Medigap to get, all that stuff. Listen to those podcasts first if you haven't heard them yet. But today I'm just going to talk about Medigaps and how to get the best deal, how to get the best rate, and how to keep it at the best rate. Most people know that Medicare ends up paying 20% Medicare ends up paying 80%. It's been a long Monday already. It's about 7:11 p.m. Mountain Time where I am talking to you right now. Medigaps pay the 20% that Medicare does not pay. So Medicare ends up paying 80% of medical bills. The Medigaps end up paying 20% of the medical bills. So potentially, you could walk away with full coverage or very close to full coverage depending on the type of plan you pick, right? So basically, folks, what you're looking at really are two things with a Medigap. Now, we've talked about how Medigap plans are standardized by the government. Basically, what this means is the plans are designed by the government, okay? The plans are designed by the government, and then the government names them after letters. So think Plan F, Plan G, Plan M, Plan N, Plan D, things like that. Not to be confused with Part D or Part A or Part B. I know they make it kind of confusing. These are just Medigap plans. They're their own little world. And so basically the rules are very simple. As long as Medicare pays, the supplement will pay. As long as Medicare does not pay, the supplement won't pay, depending on the supplement you pick. Some of them will only pay on certain things. But the best ones pay for everything, if not very close to everything. And that's the ones that we usually recommend here at our company. Basically, there's two things you need to take into consideration because every company is giving you the same plans. I'll give you a Plan G, for example, because that's the hottest plan right now. That's the most popular Medigap plan that's around right now. That can change down the road. 10 years ago, I probably would have said that plan was a Plan F. The Plan Fs just aren't what they used to be. There'll be grandfathering and going away in 2019 or 2020. 20? I think it's 22. They're going away in 2020. Being grandfathered is what they're really doing. But basically, folks, I could be wrong. Now there's something telling me it's 2019. We will fact check that and get back to you before the end of the episode. That's not important. Even if they were staying around forever, the Plan Fs just aren't what they used to be. There's been people on them for years and years. They've been around since 1992, folks. There's a lot of people on these plans. A lot of people that are older, people that are paying a lot of claims through the plan, and it makes the prices higher for everybody. It's not anybody's fault. It's just economics. It's just how insurance plans work. The Plan Gs are newer. They came out in 2010, and so traditionally, they have the best rates. They have the best combination of rates and good coverage and low rate increases. Best combination of those three worlds. Stick with me into segment 2, and I'm going to talk about the two things you need to look at when finding a good Medigap plan to keep your rates low, and really the goal is to have one that's going to last for the next 5 to 10 years and still be as good as anybody. Stick with me into segment 2. Welcome back to segment 2 of the Everything Medicare Podcast. My name is Christian Brindle. I'm your host. Where once a week, every Monday, I come to you and I bring you a podcast about your Medicare, your Medicaid, your Social Security, and everything that has to do with your retirement. I am the voice of reason for people that are in the twilight of their lives, that are retired. I'm here for you. and I'm here to help guide you through some of the most confusing stuff that there is in your lifetime to comprehend and kind of wrap your head around and make good decisions with. For those of you who don't know me, or who I am, I've been working in the Medicare industry for a number of years. I grew up around it. My father was and has been a Medicare agent and specialist and expert for close to 30 years. And so I grew up around this stuff. I had a great teacher. He taught me everything that I knew early on. And I've also had the benefit of, learning from a lot of people that are very smart and that have been around this stuff for a long time. And so basically, I've probably sat down with over 1,000 people about their Medicare plans over the years. I know what I'm doing with this stuff. I know what I'm talking about. And today we're talking about Medigaps and what to look for. Last segment I was kind of talking about there's two things that you need to look for in a Medigap plan. I always tell people you want to work with a good, credible company, a name that you recognize. Typically, if it's, Fred Flintstone's insurance company, you'd never heard of them before, it's probably not the best sign. But, just because you haven't heard of them doesn't mean they're not a good company, but that's, you want to look at how big the company is, because typically people, have kind of a sustain or resentment about working with large companies, but with Medicare supplements, it really can make a big difference, folks. I mean, think about it like this. You don't want to work with an insurance company on your Medigap plan that's broke or that can't compete financially with some of the other companies. They're going to have to make up the difference somewhere, and that comes in your premium. It just makes sense. It's economics. You want to work with a company that has a good name, big company, someone that you recognize, someone that's top player normally. But not just that. Some of the top players as far as in the insurance industry, especially for Medigaps, remember how I said last segment they're standardized? Well, this means that, let's say, use a Plan G, for example. Every insurance company in your state is going to offer a Plan G, and basically what they're going to be doing is they're going to be all the same throughout all the companies. It's just the insurance company determines how much they charge for it. So the rate is different with all of them. So you could literally pay, let's say, for example, hypothetically speaking, $200 a month for a Plan G. With another company, you could pay $100 a month for a Plan G. The coverage is exactly the same. You're not benefiting anything going with a higher cost plan. And that's what most people don't understand, because we have been taught our whole lives that we get what we pay for. Not in the Medigap industry. Not with Medigaps, not with Medicare supplements. Medicare breaks all the rules when it comes to that stuff. So you want to work with a big name company. That's number one. Number two, you want to work with a company that's going to give you a reasonable price coming in. Okay? So you don't want to go with the most expensive plans thinking that, they're going to keep your rates down. Because remember, Medigaps all raise your rates and your prices every year as you get older. They all do it. The trick is to find one that's going to be a much lower percentile. Okay. So essentially, folks, big company, reasonable price, but there's a third thing I'm going to throw in there. You want to look at a company's rate increase history. If you have an agent, ask your agent what your rate increase history is on your plan for the last 5 years. If he doesn't know, he's not a good agent. Period. Go find an agent that knows. We know. You call us, we can tell you. But usually what I'm looking at for a Medigap, my ideal increase average is a 3 to 5% window. That's my personal preference. So big companies are able to sustain rates longer and more efficiently than other companies can, typically, not always. That's why you want to look at the rate increase history, number 2, because typically might not be exactly that, but it's going to be ballpark. It might be a little more, it might be a little less, but it's going to be in that range as far as your rate increase averages go. Okay. The third thing is price. You don't want to pay an unreasonable price. You want to pay a competitive price. And basically, if you're getting your Medigap compared every, 5 or 6 years, you can keep that price low because you can keep switching over to plans. But the other reason why it's really important, folks, to make sure that you're picking one that's going to last you over a long period of time is because of a worst case scenario. Now, most of you know, when you're turning 65, you're given an open window, a new to Medicare window where you can get And this also applies if let's say you're retired and didn't take Medicare at 65 and you retire getting on Medicare later. Same thing, it applies. You can get any Medigap plan without any health questions or underwriting. Okay. Anyone you want. No pre-existing conditions, straight shot. It's a free pick. So, but after you're outside of that window, I'd say once you've been on Medicare a year or 2 years, you're not going to be given any special treatment. And so essentially, folks, you're going to have to go through health questions, underwriting, and pre-existing conditions checks and prescription checks and doctor checks and all of these things. Underwriting, it's almost like you're applying for life insurance, maybe not quite as severe. But basically what I'm saying is the new supplement you're applying for, if you try to switch from one to another, they can say no and they don't have to take you at 65. So that's why it's important to have one that's going to be the best case scenario for you. If you end up getting stuck on it, let's say if you develop a condition that nobody will take, and it does happen. Like for me personally, I tell my clients, normally I can find one that will take you, but I can't promise it. I carry all of the top plans in my state and other states as well. And so we can shop the market for people. We can look at histories when we know companies based on reputation and how we work with them. Stick with me into segment 3. We're going to wrap this topic up about how you can save money on your Medigap. Stick with me. Welcome back to the Everything Medicare Podcast. Folks, this is segment 3, my final segment. Each week when I bring you a podcast, I bring it in 3 parts. 3 sections, 3 segments. And the third segment is the segment that I close everything out for you. Basically, folks, what it comes down to and what can make your life a whole lot easier, work with a good broker. Doesn't matter what state you're in, work with a good broker that knows your market. A good broker. Now, basically what I mean by that is if you're working with a broker that's offering a company that seems a little sketchy, like I don't want to give any names because I don't want to get in trouble. I'm so tempted to just shout some names out, but I'm not going to do it. I'm a wild card, folks. I'm a wild man because I think about just doing these things, even though I'm not supposed to. I want to protect you from these companies, but I can't do it. They can come back and sue me for slander or get me in trouble somehow. So I'm not going to give you any names. But basically, if you're working with an agent that's recommending a company that hasn't done well for you, like let's say someone puts you on a Medigap and they've just been killing you with rate increases at 65, go find a new agent. That agent didn't know what he was doing. What makes you think he's going to do a better job the second time? Work with a good agent. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier. If you live in Utah, if you live in Florida, where we have a presence, where we're licensed and we work with people, we work with a lot of people in Florida. And now, as of the last 2 weeks, Idaho. If you live in Idaho and you're listening to this, call us for a free quote on your Medigap. Like I said, we're always expanding into new areas. And to be frank, folks, I mean, of course, I'm a little biased, so there's a disclosure there. But I personally believe we will give you the most care and the most detail into finding you the best Medigap plan available for you. Not in general, for you specifically, based off your needs and your preferences than any person and your company you're ever going to find. We have a tremendous track record, great experience, happy clients, and we take this stuff really seriously. So if you're in Utah, Idaho, Florida, and you want to know more about your Medigap, your supplement, and you want to have it compared, you want to see if you can beat the price with a good insurance company, or let's say you have high rate increases and you want to lower those, whatever you want, I might be able to help you. We might be able to help you. Call our office at 801-255-5340. Again, 801-255-5340. Or you can visit our website at www.christianbrindleinsuranceservices.com. www.christianbrindle, B-R-I-N-D as in dog, L-E, insuranceservices.com Find us on your favorite social media. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, a Twitter page, a Tumblr page, a LinkedIn page. If you are on any social media, I guarantee you we're there and you can learn more about your plan for free. We don't charge anything to follow us. We're always putting out free information, stuff that can help you on your stuff. This podcast is free, for example. So even if you don't want to talk to us about your plan, you're more than welcome to follow us. If you're interested in knowing more about Medigaps than your friends, your family, your neighbors, anybody else you know that's on Medigaps, if you want to be, more knowledgeable than them, if you want to really know what you're doing with this stuff, folks, and you've liked what I've had to say today, pick up my second book that is strictly about Medigap's Medicare supplements. It came out earlier this year, and it is called Medigap 101. It's a beautiful blue book with a puzzle piece on it. I'm going to put a link. Well, actually, this isn't a YouTube video. I can't do that. Go to Amazon and type in Christian Brindle, Brindle, and type in Medigap 101, and it'll come right up. Pick up that book, folks. It's a $10 evaluation. $10 book can save you hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars a year in premiums. Sounds like a good investment to me. And remember, I always tell people, insurance is the best investment you can make in yourself. It's, not the best, but one of the best. The best, it's one of the best, simply put, because it's an investment in protecting yourself, and you are the greatest asset that you will ever have. You need to protect that great asset. Insurance is a great way to do that if it's done properly. Thank you for listening to me another week. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead, and I can't wait to talk to you again next Monday. If you have any requests on what things you'd like us to talk about, send me an email at christianb@xmission.com. Just the letter X, then the word mission, MISSION.com. christianb@xmission.com. I will talk about it. Again, thank you for listening. You folks are fantastic. Enjoy your week.